All right, so many months ago, I made a series of sort of videos talking about, hypothetically, if the Oakland A's were to leave Oakland, what would I do? As someone who's a diehard fan, someone who considers myself integrated into the A's community, what would I do? Would I stick with the A's, then liking two teams in Las Vegas and then two teams in the Bay Area, or completely switching my fandom to another team and then raising the question of, oh, do I switch football as well? Well, that was many months ago, and I've thought about it a lot. And, I want to make it clear, I still think the A's are going to stay in Oakland. I seriously do. But I'd also be lying to you if I told you that, staying in Oakland was a done deal. Obviously, things can change. The A's, are very much in the market for a new stadium. That's, the goal. And whether that be in Oakland, whether that be in Las Vegas, we don't know. But I still think they're going to stay in Oakland just based on the financial side of things. They've spent a lot of money on projects in Oakland, and it would just not really make much sense if they leave Oakland financially. But as we all know, the A's do a lot of things that don't make any sense. So, yeah, they could leave Oakland. That could happen. So, like I said, I'm not saying I think it's a done deal. But I sort of thought about things. Like, I'm honestly really sort of at a crossroads. And if I had to give a short answer, are you still going to be, if someone were to ask me, are you still going to be an A's fan if, they left Oakland? My short answer would be no, right? I just feel like I wouldn't be giving, I find myself, it would be really hard for me to give the A's the Raiders treatment. By what I mean by that is, when the Raiders moved to Las Vegas, I decided, and it was a big decision, to stick with liking them. And I felt like I stuck with them because I feel like the Raiders' identity is still very much integrated in Oakland and the Bay Area and California, all parts of the world. I made a documentary about it called The City of Anguish. You can go watch it. It's on the channel. But, I feel like the Raiders mean so much to me, people I know, the city, the state, everyone. And I feel like the A's simply just don't have that same charm. That being said, the A's have a fan base. They have, a good group of fans, a great community. But I feel like the A's ownership has alienated the fan base, not just this year, but it's been evident many, many times over that the A's ownership is intentionally alienating the fan base. And you know what? I think the Raiders ownership is not good by any means either. I think that Mark Davis is very arrogant, and I was definitely hesitant with sticking with liking his sports team when they moved to Las Vegas. But I think, at least he has some respect for the fans, right? John Fisher himself has publicly stated he isn't even an A's fan at all. So I feel like the Raiders treatment was sort of me supporting the Raiders unconditionally, even though they moved to Las Vegas, which, wasn't easy. I love the Raiders, and I always will, but it wasn't an easy switch. To like them as the Las Vegas Raiders, whereas instead of the Oakland Raiders. Sorry. So I feel like it would be very difficult to see this baseball team I support right now that I'll be completely frank, I have a hard time supporting right now. Because of the ownership. Don't get me wrong, I love all the players. I think they do a great job. They're even exceeding my expectations this season so far. But for what the ownership has done, I feel like it would just be, the final straw, right? Because I can be a fan of the A's unconditionally, but I feel like it would reach a certain point to where I just don't see it being worth the trouble. What I mean by that is, right now, and you can go watch the video I made on my experience at the Oakland Coliseum on opening night and with the attendance issues. I made a video about that had a lot of feedback on it, and it was valuable, and so I'll just kind of give my response to that. What the A's are doing right now is some of the harshest, repercussions, for lack of a better term, to a fan base that I've ever seen. The A's fans do nothing but put blood, sweat, and tears into this team, go to the games, and sure, there's few of us that go to games because, it's come to a point where, obviously attendance has been an issue. Low attendance has been an issue for decades, but it's at the lowest right now it's been in decades because the ownership has gone out of its way, it seems, to make this team unappealing, make the stadium unappealing, make the whole atmosphere unappealing. And more, to be specific, one, the stadium is awful. And it was awful before this year, but it's gotten worse. The whole experience of it, there's no concession, hardly any concessions open. I talk all about this in great detail in the other video that was posted a couple days ago. So if you want a bigger explanation, go watch that. But what I'm trying to say is there is no pride at all by the A's ownership. There was no pride at all by Dave Kaval. And I know Dave Kaval, is controversial, right? Because although he has he's very driven to getting a new stadium, which is something that past owners really can't say they've done. But the thing with Dave Kaval is, although he's very proud of what he does, he has no respect for the fan base. A's Access, for those of you that don't know, was a plan sort of similar to season tickets, but it was less of a commitment. A's Access was basically, you sign up for a certain amount of games, you pay this certain amount, and it was an amazing revolutionary system that other teams adopted. And it gave you benefits. You would get, I believe it was 25% off at all merchandise stores, 50% off concessions, and I was an A's Access member for a brief period. It was a great system. It incentivized going to games. It was amazing. And then it doesn't last. They get rid of that. So that's a sabotage. That's just an example. And then, of course, the self-sabotage on the field of getting rid of all the players. And so all of this alone has pushed me to the limit. I feel like if the A's did something so detrimental, like this again, I don't know how much longer I could support them. I'm coming to a point where it's an embarrassment to be a fan. It's, the attendance is embarrassing, which is not the fans' fault. I want to make that clear. It's the ownership's fault. But if the A's were to move to Las Vegas, I just feel like, and there's probably people that don't agree with this, and that's totally fine. I just, don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth following a team that I love going to games to, or at least used to love going to before, they sabotaged the whole idea of going to games by ruining the atmosphere and ruining the experience. I don't think it would be worth it watching 162 games on my couch, having no real connection to this team because of how much they've already alienated the fan base by trading players and not caring about the Oakland fans. And then the fact that they play in a different state now, where I would probably maybe able to go to a couple games a year if I was still a fan. Does that seem worth it? No. So what's the solution? That's the real question. If I wasn't to like the A's, the easiest option would be to like the Giants. I can never see myself doing that. I know I hinted at the idea of it back when relocation rumblings were going on back in, the summer of last year and last spring. I flirted with the idea of it. I just don't see myself being a Giants fan. That's not who I am. The main issue is I've spent so much money on A's merchandise. I've spent so much time with the A's. I've spent so much of my life invested in this baseball team. And so if they were to just pick up everything and move, I got an issue here. Now, if I weren't to like the Giants, that sort of makes things difficult. I think, honestly, if I would just be praying that some sort of expansion team would come to North California. We have San Jose, Sacramento, Santa Clara, even Fremont. These are 4 cities that definitely could support a team and have before. That being said, is it feasible? Maybe. I don't know. Obviously this is a super big hypothetical, but I've sort of come to the conclusion that if the A's were to move, I'm not going to like the A's probably, and I'm probably not going to like the Giants. And if I were to like the A's, it would be a very big grain of salt when I say I like the A's. It wouldn't be, I'm a huge A's supporter. Watch every game. If the A's were to move to Las Vegas, I could care less how they do, honestly, because it would be sort of the thing I talked about. They're not getting the Raiders treatment where nothing changes because at least the Raiders have some pride and respect for the fans. And I want to be clear. I don't think the Raiders are innocent, right? I think they treated Oakland badly. Oakland treated them badly. It was bad blood between the two sides. But the purpose of the documentary I made, The City of Anguish, was to kind of show that the Raiders have an impact on Oakland and California and Bay Area, such a broad scope. They have such an impact on the fans in the state. And the A's, I hate to say it, they really don't outside of Oakland, maybe certain parts of the Bay Area, Northern California. The A's have a big fan base. Even though it doesn't seem like it, they do. But I just don't think if they moved, it would really be the same connection. So that's sort of a follow-up on the video I made titled, why is the A's attendance issues, why is it so bad? Because I feel like this is sort of the follow-up. why are they doing this? And if they were to move, you know, what's gonna happen? I mean, I feel like I'm a pretty reliable source for speaking on behalf of the fans, because I've seen the Raiders move, I've seen the Warriors move, and I'm sure though people have different opinions on me, so I would love to hear it. So that's gonna do it, guys. Let me know your thoughts. This is a very controversial discussion, right? When a team moves, it's, you know, it's a big question. Are you gonna still like them or not? But anyways, let me know your thoughts. I'll see you guys later, and yeah, peace out.